Coming to the sixth waste, that is waste of transportation. So if I have to give you just one line definition for it, it is an unnecessary movement of materials, tools or equipment. That is any movement that is not required. But let's dig a little bit further. So unnecessary movement of parts, double handling of materials, that is sending materials to and forth in between different departments, shuffling of inventory to get access to the right components. Now this means when you need to shuffle through the inventories, this means lean has not been implemented even at the basic level, because basic level is 5S. So when you have implemented 5S, everything is sorted, each thing has its own place. So if you need to shuffle for the inventory, this means that hasn't been done. So waste of transportation can involve raw components, sub-assemblies, empty boxes or just anything that is required for production. So anything that's required for production and you are just transporting it, it is waste of transportation. It is not only found in production area. So it's not only that you are just you'll just find the waste of transportation in the production area or from the inventory to the production area. You will also find it in the material delivery areas. That is, the products or services are ready and now you have to ship them. Fine. So there is also a lot of waste of transportation involved, and it is throughout the supply chain. That is from getting the raw materials from the suppliers to ending the final product to the customer. It is the waste of transportation is available throughout the supply chain and even in the offices. Transporting material is necessary activity, no doubt. Obviously you have to get your material, maybe raw material, and then you have to ship your finished products. So it is a necessary activity, but it is a non-value added activity. Your customers are not going to pay for that. For example, there are two similar products, right? So you cannot charge for one product extra, maybe $100 or rupees 5,000, just because that product has been, you have just got that delivery from a far off factory. You can't add extra charges to it, okay? So eliminating or reducing this type of waste within your facility or your supply chain may reduce overall lead time or the cycle time. So when you reduce this the waste, this transportation waste, obviously your lead time will reduce. That is, from serving your customer, from the time he just put in the demand till he has his final product. So that's the lead time. And the cycle time, when you have all your products near the area you are producing, so obviously cycle time would be less for each process. Delivery is the only form of transportation for which customer is willing to pay. So when we talk about waste of transportation, so delivery is the only exception. That's why FedEx, DHL, we pay them, like we pay them money so that they can take our products, maybe they ship for the shipment charges and all that. Otherwise all other waste, all other transportation is a waste and customer is not willing to pay for it. Additionally, each time a product is moved, it is exposed to the risks such as delays, damage, loss and will incur costs. So if I have to give you a very simple example, maybe you can take a showroom which has like which just has a it's an electronic showroom with refrigerators, washing machines and TV sets and all that. Fine. So if they have the showroom at one place, but they are stocking their like all other products, extra products which cannot be kept in the showroom at some other place, fine. So they cannot ask customer to pay extra so that they can just go to their go to that place, that inventory stock and get the product, okay. So customer is not going to pay for that. Customer is only going to pay for the product which they have seen in the showroom. Now they are just going to send it from the showroom or they'll fetch it from some other place. Customer is not bothered. So now lean philosophy does not avoid transportation costs altogether, and we cannot even do that because transportation is involved in our processes, and lean does not say that you have to remove all kind of transportation. No, you cannot do that, but advises that transportation should be minimized and identifies it as a non-value added activity. But according to lean, transportation is not a value added activity, so it should be minimized. sensible production, focus on materials flow, and responding to the voice of customer. Lean says that you should have a sensible production. That is, your source of raw materials should be near your factories, or most of the raw material required for the day or for the next week should be within the plant itself. Focus on material flow, that how material flow throughout the supply chain, and what is the voice of the customer, when the customer needs the product, how he needs it. So we need to focus, and all these are effective remedies to combat transportation waste. So we can find waste of transportation in production area, material delivery area, and the supply chain. So when we talk about production area, within the production area, waste of transportation will be found when product is not stored close to the point of use. For example, people are assembling hair, so whatever they need should be stored somewhere nearby, fine. So that place shouldn't be far away in the plant. So this is how you can combat waste of transportation within the production area. So small store inventory should be placed near the production area. This will avoid having to bring the product back and forth from the warehouse. This is a simple solution that how can you do that, but you have to understand that how many products you need to make in a day, and then what would be the requirements, all the list of requirements you need to make that product. For example, so what you have to do is that there should be a small space near the assembly area, and all those products maybe for next 3 days should be stored there, so that you don't have to go back and forth to the warehouse to simply get the product. So this will save the cost of transportation within the production area. After product area, the area where we see the waste of transportation most is the material delivery area, fine. So waste of transportation is more evident in the material delivery areas than the production areas. So it's evident. Actually in production area sometimes it becomes hidden. You think that it's necessary, we don't have enough space to store the raw material near the production area, so we need to go to the warehouse. But here it is very evident. So moving product further than necessary. Now how you can check this waste of transportation here is when you are moving product further than necessary, storing product in a temporary location only to move it shortly thereafter. This means you should, like, if the product is ready, either it should be shipped directly to where the customer is or wherever you want to ship it to, but just storing it at a temporary place is not a good idea. Or moving empty delivery carts are all considered a very big waste. And then the solution for all these waste, how we can curtail this waste, is that application of standardized material handling routes. So again there should be standardized material handling routes, that how this material has to be handled, how everything has to be done. There should be a certain process which should be written in a manual, and this will help reduce the waste, fine. Then another area where we will see the waste of transportation is supply chain. Although transportation plays a major part in supply chain, obviously supply chain means, like as I told you, from supplier to the end customer. So you will see that their transportation plays a major role. Obviously you will be getting some raw materials, they will be sent to the factory or the production house. Finished goods are then sent to the customer, to the market. So it plays a major role in the supply chain. Careful consideration must be taken to reduce it whenever possible, but this does not at all mean that you shouldn't be careful of how your transportation is working within your supply chain. You should try to minimize it. Optimizing your transportation is another viable option through the use of methods such as milk runs. Now by milk runs, I am just going to give you an example to explain what milk runs are. So this involves picking up a product from multiple suppliers en route. That is if you are getting raw materials from one place to a particular location, so you should make an effort that you should try to collect the material from all the suppliers which come en route. So this saves lots of time. fine. So, if I have to give you an example of how sometimes transportation can be costly, messy, so here is an example. A manufacturing company has actually two facilities. All materials from both the plants are received at one facility, that is all the materials are received at one facility, and that is called plant A. Resin is a material used to mold plastic parts, comes to plant A first. So, what we see in picture is that currently we see plant A, and that we have actually two facilities, plant A and plant B, but all the materials are first sent to plant A, and resin, which is the main material which is used to mold the parts, is sent to first plant A, but it is used in plant B. Fine, but it is not used in plant A, it is only received in plant A, and then it is again sent to plant B, main plant for manufacturing plastic components, because plastic is made of resin. So, the resin is shipped to plant B. This resin is used to mold parts used at plant A. Now, this resin is again molded into parts, and those parts are then shipped again to plant A. Molded parts are shipped to plant A, the parts are built into finished goods. So, then these at plant A, these molded parts are finished into finished goods, made into finished goods, that is married up with the product at plant B. So, that they are combined with some products at plant B. So, the part contained with finished product is shipped back to the plant B. So, now you see there is so much of transportation going on. First there are two plants, then the resin, the main material, is just shipped to plant A where nothing is done. It is then shipped to plant B where it is molded, and then it's again the molded parts are sent to plant A where they are turned into finished goods, which are combined with certain parts which are in plant B, and then again everything is shipped back to plant A. So, see, if you can see, there is lot of transportation going on. So, you can see there is lot of waste of transportation, that is so obvious. So, what are improvements possible here? So, resin should be sent to plant B. So, first thing that the company can do is that they can directly send the resin to plant B where it is molded into the components, main components to make the product, fine. So, why to ship it to plant A? So, this will save one run, or parts could be molded at plant A itself, or the parts then when resin is received at plant A. So, the parts should also be molded at plant A, and this would save two trips, one for the resin and one for the molded plants. So, we have to check that whether we have the necessary transportation or we are just going for unnecessary transportation. So, by making few changes in our production system, we can save lot of money which is waste on transportation. So, now that we know that transport is waste, it is a non-value added activity. So, obviously the companies which have like lot of transport going on, so they would have to incur some kind of cost, like cost of waste of transport, right. So, the waste of transport is a disease. Actually, I have called it disease because there is lot of hidden cost which you do not see, that causes company money, which is alarming. Because it is not just the physical movement of things, right, other things are involved too. You have to pay for material handling, equipment, staff to operate it, you need people, you need to train those people, you have to tell them about the safety precautions and you have to take the safety measures. This means maybe extra packaging or something, extra space for the movement of material and so forth. So, it is not just the actual movement, but other costs which are also involved. So, transportation often leads to operations having to wait for a product to be delivered due to delay. So, it also causes the waste of waiting, because people are waiting as things have not been transferred, the transportation was delayed or something like that, thus costing you more money as well as extending the lead times and creating delivery problems. So, obviously, if the transportation is delayed or it is late, so people are waiting, that would cost you money, plus your lead times will extend because you do not have the material. So, how can you serve your customer, and plus there would be delivery problems, you will not be able to deliver the things on time. Then excessive transport also give opportunities for handling damage and losses. Fine. So there would be, if there is like during transport, if your products are damaged or they are lost, so that's also the money which is lost. So high value products sometimes get lost. Like there was one major example some time back when the complete ship drowned with almost 40 BMW cars on it. So that was a huge loss for the company, right? So that's why I told you that if there is a waste, you would have to incur money. Then coming to the examples of waste of transportation. So the examples are like how you can see that this is transportation going on, and the transport of a product from one functional area such as pressing to another area as welding. This means both these areas were not close enough. So the product has been first pressed, maybe steel sheets, and now they have been sent for welding. So this is extra cost you are paying for transportation, and the solution to it would have been that both these things, both the pressing and the welding departments or the places should be close by, or they should be together so that the products are just moved from one to another process. The use of material handling devices to move batches of material from one machine to another within a work cell. That is, you are just using material handling devices so that you can like pick huge batches of products and move from one cell to another. The shipment of product from one functional factory to another. So you are shipping your product from one factory to another. That's the waste of transportation. The transportation of cheaper components from one country to another. Sometimes you think that there would be like things are cheaper in some other country, so you just get them transported, and but you forget that you are also paying those transportation costs. Moving hospital patients from department to department, that is also a transportation, but another form, it's in the like hospital sector. Sending overstocked inventory back to warehouse or an outlet store location. As I already told you, like where the store is, if your warehouse is at some other place, so you're just sending back the material, the overstocked inventory. Or if in case it's a software, it may mean code from one server or repository to another one. So sometimes you think that people think that okay, they have a website on one platform which is running, so maybe GoDaddy just gives them a better offer, right? So for time being, they think that it's very good that they should just move their website from that server to GoDaddy, but they forget that lots of things will go on. They have to go in for integration, there can be defects in the site, there would be some downtime, and transporting out of season produce from halfway around the world to your store instead of eating local. So that's very simple, I believe. Let's move on and discuss causes of waste of transportation, that what actually causes this waste. So there are many causes that contribute to the waste of transportation, but there are two other wastes that cause transportation waste, that is waste of overproduction. This waste of overproduction, that you are overproducing your goods and your customer doesn't demand them. So there is no demand from the customer. So what you have to do is that you have to take those products from your facility, your factory to some warehouse or a place so that they can be stored. And when you are overproducing, you are in which it in turn leads to waste of inventory. This means you have to have lots of inventory. You have it in the warehouse, in the storeroom, anywhere where you need to store this inventory so that you can overproduce, right? So this inventory now has to be transported throughout your facility. So from maybe one department to another department, from one silo to another silo, from one process to another process, or between the factories if there are two plants, like I gave you an example, so plant A and plant B, or even the continents if the factory has its various plants spread out in various parts of the world. So this inventory travels. So when this travels, so this causes waste of transportation. In addition to overproduction and waste of inventory, our organization layouts often lead to the need to transport product. So there is another problem with the way our organizations or factories have been laid out, fine. So we will discuss two major defects that just in a while, but for now, companies are organized in functional silos, that is they have a discrete department for each thing. So that is, we have a discrete area for specific functions such as welding, pressing, molding, etc. So this leads to the need to transport product from each of these areas to the next, and that sometimes you also need to transfer them back. So what is happening all throughout is just excessive waste of transportation. So what should be the ideal thing is that if you know that after pressing your things should be painted first, so all these departments should be together, so there should be no waste of transportation involved. Within each functional area we tend to leave excessive gaps, and then within each functional area there are excessive gaps between operations. So there are excessive gaps between operations which operations requiring the need to use things like pump trucks to move products about. So you need, because there is a lot of gap between one process area to another, so you need big pump trucks so that you can just move the products from one area to another. Then what causes a waste of transportation is lengthy or complex material handling systems or the customer requirements, multiple storage locations. If you have multiple storage locations, various warehouses, large batch sizes. This is a one big problem which Lean never advocates that you should go for large batch sizes. So now that we understand that what are the causes of this transportation waste, so let's see how we can measure this waste. Fine. So measured by this, you can measure the waste of transportation. There are very simple gadgets available these days. You can buy them from Amazon. So measured by using distance measuring wheel. So it's a very simple tool. I'll just add a picture of this with this lecture, or you can just go and search on Amazon. You can buy it if your company needs it. It's something like a stick, then it has a wheel, and here is a meter. So mostly it's for 10 kilometers or so. So this meter gives a reading that how much distance has been traveled. Fine. So measured by using distance measuring wheel to follow the flow of products or processes, or you have normal measuring tapes, right. So total distance can be measured before and after improvements to determine the time saving. So one thing, if you really want to eliminate this waste, first measure the distance, that is what is your regular transport waste, and then just after you make the improvements, whatever will be taught to you, that how you can reduce this waste. Each step of walking, there is one book which is making materials flow. So this, I have taken this extract from this book. So each step of walking is equivalent to 2.5 feet, and each 2.5 feet is equivalent to 0.6 seconds. Fine, understood? So if you use metric system, one step is equivalent to 0.762 meters, which means every 4.166 feet travelled is 1.27 meters, or 1 second of time is wasted. Therefore, if your process distance is 10,000 feet per day, then this means 10,000 feet per 4.1667 feet per second is equal to 2400 seconds or 40 minutes or 0.67 hours, right? If you multiply, then if you actually want to know that what is the waste of transportation, that is actual money you are just spending. So you can multiply your labor rate. So it can be, your labor rate can be anything. For now I have kept it X, and the number of hours of travel. Example, if your labor rate is $30 per hour, then $30 into 0.67 hours is $20 of time per day that is wasted. $20 is wasted per day, and if your workers work for 20 days per month, then the cost is $400 per month wasted due to travel. Now can you see what is this waste of why this transportation is called a waste, even when they are excessively walking within the facilities? So this much money you actually waste. So this is why it's important that we need to reduce this waste. So along with measuring wheel or measuring tape, we can also use stopwatch, that is used to calculate time taken to go and get something, and then you can record those times in a sheet or in some system. Then mapping the value stream with appropriate data and details. This is very, very important if you really want to reduce any kind of waste, fine. So you have to have a value stream of all your processes with the complete details, that what are the process steps, what is the cycle time, what are the number of employees, how much time is taken. So all these details should be mentioned with the company which is serious about lean implementation and elimination of waste. Then reviewing your line haul costs. Now what are these line haul costs? So line haul cost in logistics refer to the movement of freight with any mode of transport, whether it be land, air or waterway, between different cities. Now this freight can be vary in volume and weight, from small documents to heavy pallets. But the thing is that once you start measuring and reviewing your transportation costs, you will understand how dangerous they are for your bottom lines. So obviously you will start looking at the solutions. So I have few to mention. So how we can eliminate or reduce the waste of transportation? The first and the best method is move to cellular layout instead of functional layout. Now what is exactly a functional layout? So functional layout is a workplace in which processes are organized by the type of work, that is the function, rather than by the value stream. That is how each process is flowing, like how the product is flowing through the value stream. The factory area or the production area is not made according to that, but they are made according to the various functions. For example, welding, molding, painting or something like that, instead of just seeing that how the value flows, like how the product flows through the complete system. Fine. So it looks something like this. This is very, very simple, but the actual processes are very complicated. I didn't want it to confuse you at that level, so I chose this one because it was very simple. So there are two products, product A and product B. So both these products first go in turning. Now you can see that these are the various silos or the functional departments, right? So there is they have nothing to do with the flow of the process, with the value stream. They are just made like this, and they don't have any consideration for the kind of transport the product is going through when it is traveling from one part to another. Fine. So you see the product A and product B, they first go in for turning, then for miling, and then from here they go to welding, and then to assembly, and finally to testing. So instead of what it should be turning, miling, then it should be like this or in a circular manner. Fine. So final step should be testing. So we should try to replace this, though it involves cost, but once you just spend that initial cost, it starts to bring in profits. So we should just replace this functional layout with the cellular layout. Now what is this cellular layout? So it involves use of multiple cells in the assembly line fashion. Each of these cells is composed of one or multiple different machines that accomplish certain tasks. Fine. So each cell has one machine or various machines that accomplish certain tasks. The product moves from one cell to the next, each station completing part of manufacturing process. So one process is finished within the one cell, only then it is sent to the other part. Fine. It strives to maximize both flexibility and efficiency by pairing product layout concept with the process layout. So it's more about what is the product layout and the process layout. So it combines both and tries to bring out something which is very efficient and where the waste of transportation is less. So it looks like something like this. So this is work cell 1. And this work cell 1 has another work cell, that is work cell 2 and 3. So the product will come from work cell 2, which is further has the workstation 2A and 2B. So product will move from work cell 2 to workstation 2A, and then from 2B, and then work cell 3, and then it will move to work cell 3A. So basically the processes are completed within the cells only. They don't go to various places or various functional departments, right? So when we suggest that we should move to the cellular layout type, so many organizations could benefit from deconstructing their production method then rebuilding it from the ground up around the product and around the needs of their customers. So, this will really help in lowering the cost of transportation and excess transportation that is going on, or around a desire to quickly change to the to meet changing needs of the customer. That is, your facility should be such that it could quickly change. If there is any kind of change in the market or the needs of the customer, you can change and just adapt your product according to those changes. So, cellular layout can be established in shops, offices and many industries. It is not only about manufacturing, you can use it in any place, fine, with little modifications though. And then another suggestion is that you can move materials close to the point of use. Now, this won't incur a lot of cost, because you simply have to just think, it can take time or your man hours, that is just moving the material to the point of use that you can store them. So, what usually is advised, that if you do not have lot of space near the area where you are using the materials, so usually what's done is that you just check the inventory for the next few days, maybe a week or so, and you just bring all those materials used for that particular week, so that excessive motion or the people just bringing in the material, going to get the material can be lowered or stopped. Fine. And then obviously, I have already talked about value stream mapping. It is very important, that because that will help you actually understand how to just have the facility or the production system which is well for your products, and it is according to the needs of the customer. Then you can provide like lot of value to the customers on time, because it shortens your lead time. So, if I have to summarize this complete concept of waste of transportation, so what is it? When anything, that is people, equipment, supplies, documents, is transported unnecessarily, that is waste of transportation. Like sending wrong parts, even worst is you are sending wrong parts, sending materials to the wrong location or at a wrong time. These are even the worst examples of waste of transportation. And one way to cut the waste is co-location, that is wherein customers are served by nearby suppliers. So, this can this can reduce your waste of transportation by a big number. Then departments working with each other or serving each other are put together. As I have already told you, that people who have the similar functions, you should look at the value stream, that after this process what would be the next step, your department should be placed according to that. Example, materials and tools departments may be moved, relocated or pre-positioned beside or nearer the user department or their internal customers. Fine. So, I think so I have explained this waste of transportation quite in detail, but I have also added a PPT. It is about a case study for those candidates who want to know more, that what is this waste of transportation in like little further detail. So, they can just check this PPT and just have more information about this waste.